It's turning into a real fight.
Make sure y'all stay on point with
The Puncher's Point.
What is good, y'all? Welcome back to The Puncher's Point. Now, originally, when we made the prediction episode for this, we were expecting Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois. And I was on here with Ricky. We talked about it. Changed my mind. I picked Daniel Dubois. However, Daniel Dubois became sick. Replacing him was heavy hitter Martin Bakole. But regardless of all of that, Joseph Parker is now called, in my book, the Giant Slayer. Wilder, Zhang, and Bakole, all of them have fell to Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker defeats Martin Bakole by second round knockout. So, with that being said, first of all, let's put some respect on Joseph Parker's name, okay? Because we have been saying this for a very, very long time. He deserves a title shot. It's been a long overdue. He deserves a title shot. And I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to give, as far as towards the end, like who should he fight next, all that type of stuff, I'll give my opinion on that. But he deserves a title shot regardless. It's just a matter of who's he going to fight. Usyk or Dubois. We'll talk about that at the end. However, let's get straight into the fight breakdown. Overall strategy. See, the strategy for Joseph Parker, I don't know what the strategy was against Daniel Dubois. But for Martin Bakole was a big dude. I mean, we're talking about a guy who came into this fight 313 pounds. 313 pounds. By the way, shout out to Martin Bakole for stepping in on one day's notice. But he came in 313 pounds. Joseph Parker, I think it was like 250 or something like that. So when you really look at it, Joseph Parker knew that Martin Bakole packed a punch. And I'm going to be honest, as a replacement, Martin Bakole would have been the last option I would have been excited about. If you told me, yeah, Daniel Dubois can't make it, so you're not going to be fighting for the IBF title, and instead his replacement is going to be Martin Bakole, who made Jared Anderson look like trash. If you're going to tell me it was that guy, I would have been like, great. I would have actually been a little annoyed. The replacement is going to be one of the heaviest hitters in boxing. But regardless of that, when he stepped into this fight, obviously Martin Bakole said he didn't train at all for this fight, and it showed. Because Martin Bakole came in there, he was going to rely strictly on his power. He was going to land a good lucky power punch on Joseph Parker, and he was going to knock him out. But that's not what happened. And I'm not going to lie, Joseph Parker, there were some moments where I got a little worried for Joseph Parker. I thought there were some times where Bakole clipped him, and I thought that Joseph Parker was going to really hit the canvas, but that's not what happened because A, Joseph Parker was a lot quicker, and B, Joseph Parker knew how to pick his punches. So he attacked the body a little bit. He went up, obviously. There was when he hit him, and I'm going to be honest with you, it didn't look like he hit him that hard. It didn't even look like he made real good contact. But it looked like it was just enough to kind of mess up his equilibrium. Martin Bakole fell to the ground. He got back up before the count of 10. In my personal opinion, y'all could disagree with me in the comments. I don't care. In my personal opinion, I feel like the stoppage was early. I feel because if you go look at it, Bakole gets back up and he walks to his corner and then he turns around. In my opinion, I think he was ready to go a little bit more. I'm not saying he would have won, but I don't think they should have stopped it that early, in my opinion. But regardless, there really wasn't any strategy to this. On one day's notice, what strategy can you really have? And it didn't last long enough for me to even get a strategy. So overall, I got to give it like a 6 as far as strategy. It's not that Joseph Parker's and I'm sure maybe Joseph Parker had a good strategy for Martin Bakole. He is really smart. His corner is very good. They've done a very, very good job with him, but I couldn't really find a strategy for either of these guys. So I got to give it a 6. Martin Bakole said that he didn't even train for this, so that says enough. So as far as strategy, I got to give it a 6. I have to because there just wasn't enough for me to even look at it and determine what the strategy was. So yeah, 6. Now, as far as the excitement in this fight, I'm not gonna lie to you. It wasn't really that exciting. Obviously, it didn't last that long. The knockout to me, I was like, it wasn't anything that I could be like excited about or made me go. I was surprised. I was shocked that Joseph Parker was able to knock out Martin Bakole in the second round. Don't get me wrong. But as far as excitement, I really wasn't excited about the knockout. It wasn't a knockout I can look at and be like, oh my God, that is knockout. It wasn't anything like that. So overall, I got to give that a 6.5. It's just, I wasn't really excited about it. The fight itself, I wasn't, it just didn't last long for me to even be excited about it. Now, how does this impact? Actually, before we get to impact, let's talk about stakes. What was on the line? Not, I'm gonna be honest with you, not much. I mean, to go from fighting the IBF champion and Daniel Dubois, who has been on a roll, to fighting Martin Bakole, who doesn't have a world championship, that takes the stakes down a little bit. Now, regardless, Martin Bakole, he was rising. You know, a lot of people were looking at him as the next great power hitter in the sport, but and he still does pack power. Don't get me wrong. I would not want to take a hit from Martin Bakole, but at the same time, I mean, the stakes they fell. You know, I would have said maybe this fight gets an 8 for stakes if it was Dubois, but because it's Bakole, I'll be generous. I'm gonna give it a 7. I'm gonna give it a 7 because you did improve. I think this is down to 6 straight win that Joseph Parker has had. The last time he lost was to Joe Joyce, and so it proves that Joseph Parker, you put him up against a power puncher, he's gonna get the job done. Look, Joseph Parker, he might not be the strongest, he might not be the fastest, he might not even be the most high IQ'd as far as being a boxer. But the one thing about Joseph Parker is Joseph Parker is going to get the job done. He might not be the strongest, he might not be the fastest, but he will get the job done. And if you put him up against any power hitter, he's going to get that job done. And he is going to upset everybody. He's going to shock a lot of people. That's what Joseph Parker has been doing these last 6 fights. These last 6 fights, Joseph Parker has proved that it's not about size, it's not about speed, it's about heart. And if you put him up there against some of the best power hitters, they're going to fall. Joseph Parker is the Giant Slayer. Now, with that being said, how does this impact the sport of boxing? Well, in my opinion, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to give the impact a 7.5 because I think this just solidifies that Joseph Parker deserves a title shot. I'm gonna say this. He deserves that title shot. He is the next guy in line. I don't care who any of these mandatories, quote unquote, mandatories are. If I don't care who it is, Joseph Parker deserves that next title shot. He has proven time and time again that he has deserved it. Go back, fast forward, rewind to Deontay Wilder. That fight was made for Deontay Wilder to win, so he can go and fight Joshua. What happened? Joseph Parker shut that down instantly. Next thing you know, you got Zhilei Zhang. They're like, oh, this is going to be a really exciting fight. Zhilei Zhang is a power hitter that could really mess up Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker goes in there, takes Zhang's best shots, gets back up, and defeats him. Fast forward to now. Daniel Dubois, he was the next guy that a lot of people thought were going to beat Joseph Parker. Now, we don't know the answer to that yet because they obviously didn't fight. But then you go and you're going to say, hey, Martin Bakole's coming in, and it concerns a lot of people because you're thinking, well, is Bakole going to be the one to really mess up Parker? Nope, not even close. So Joseph Parker has been constantly proving people wrong. He's been constantly putting doubt into a lot of fans' minds. So now when I think about Joseph Parker, no matter who he's fighting, I'm like, well, he does got a good shot. You know, it's not like, even if I pick the other guy, he does have a good shot. Joseph Parker has a shot against anybody. So I think it just further cements that. But the reason why I won't give it anything more than a 7.5 is because either or he beat Bakole. He's not an IBF champion because this fight, if he were to go and beat Daniel Dubois, he would have been a heavyweight champion, but he's not. So overall, he's got to wait and see what's going to happen next. Because for all we know, they could just make Usyk and Dubois and tell Joseph Parker to take a little check-in back out the way. I don't want him to do that. I think Joseph Parker should honestly fight a champion. He's been proven that against the best challengers, he can beat them. I don't want to see him fight Ajit Caballel. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to see him fight Jared Anderson. I don't want to see him fight Anthony Joshua. I don't want to see him fight Tyson Fury. I don't want to see him fight anybody but one of those two heavyweight champions. So It's all about what they're gonna do. Because it's Bakole, I feel like they're gonna try to find a way to kind of shrug off Joseph Parker a little bit. But yeah, that's why I gotta give it a 7.5. And overall, the grade for this fight is going to be 6.75. Now, when you put that on the list of the fights that we have graded so far, 6.75, it's kind of low on this list. It's tied with Lauren Price versus Bexy Mateus for the second to last fight. And again, it's not Joseph Parker's fault. You know, this fight didn't last long enough for me to give it a great grade. I can't call it a great fight because it didn't last that long. You know, so 6.75, I think it's where it's at. I think that's an appropriate place to put it. Um, and overall, yeah. So the question is now, what's next for Joseph Parker and who should he fight? I've already said a million times in this podcast, in this episode, he should fight a real champion, but should he fight Usyk? And should he fight Dubois? Joseph Parker, I think he should fight Usyk. I think that the Daniel Dubois fight should happen at a later time. I think he should go and fight Usyk. And the reason why is because yes, it would be easier to reschedule and make the fight happen with Daniel Dubois. But the reason why I think he should fight Usyk is because I believe that Joseph Parker deserved that title shot before Daniel Dubois even defeated Anthony Joshua. They were both deserving, don't get me wrong. But Joseph Parker definitely deserved that title shots. So, when you really go and you look at it, I truly believe that I just think it's time for somebody to throw a bone at Joseph Parker, give him a shot at Usyk. You know, and the truth is, we've seen Usyk go up against some big guys too. We've seen him go up against guys like Tyson Fury. We've seen him go up against guys like Anthony Joshua, and he's always answered the call. I want to see what he can do against Joseph Parker. I want to see that boxing fight. I think it would make a great boxing fight for fans who love the true sport of boxing. I think it would make a great fight. Now, if they decided that, hey, we're gonna go and and we're gonna reschedule with Daniel Dubois, I'm cool with that too. You know, I feel like that would still make a very, very entertaining fight. Um, I feel like at that point, Daniel Dubois would have the edge because he got to see what Joseph Parker was made of against another power hitter. But overall, I wouldn't be mad if they made that fight. I just feel like if Joseph Parker deserves a big fight. He's proven it the last 6 fights. He's on a 6 fight winning streak. You know, I mean, he's beaten some of the hottest names in boxing. I feel like he deserves a title shot at that heavyweight championship. It's been long overdue. So I would prefer Usyk versus Parker opposed to Dubois versus Parker. And if he beats Usyk, you can have that down the line. But Usyk versus Parker to me would be a good matchup. I would like to see that I would like to see two true boxers go one on one with each other. So overall, I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see. You know, overall, congratulations to the Giant Slayer Joseph Parker for going in there and annihilating Martin Bakole. Just basically, you know, sending a message out there to the heavyweight division saying it doesn't matter how much power you have. If you step into that ring with me, I'm gonna make it your worst nightmare. I'm honestly happy for Joseph Parker. He's such a humble guy. It's been long overdue. And congratulations to him. As far as Martin Bakole, he took the loss like a man, like a champ, like a real champion would. Um, you know, and I wish him the best. I hope that he bounces back. You know, he seems like a very good fighter. I hope that someday, the next fight, he gets a real full training camp to actually train and study. And I hope that we get to see him back in the ring. But with that being said, we're gonna have to wait and see. Make sure y'all continue to tune into the Puncher's Point. We're gonna have the other two fights, which is gonna be Beterbiev versus Bivol, and we're also gonna have Shakur Stevenson versus Joshua Padley. We're gonna see those videos. We're gonna definitely have them onto the podcast and the YouTube channel. So make sure y'all definitely go check those out when they get released. And overall, just make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point.